Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Revisiting Disney. This is the series where I play Imagineer for a day, you guys give me an attraction that I should revisit, and I talk about how I would replace it, most of the time completely replace it and put a new attraction there, sometimes just tweak it a little bit, and based on your latest suggestions, we are at the Tomorrowland Speedway. The Disneyland version is known as Autopia. And I agree with a lot of people who left comments in that this is an attraction that definitely could use some refurbishment. So this was an interesting one too, because the ride mechanic isn't particularly exciting. At least I don't think it is. It was very exciting to me when I was younger, before I knew how to actually drive, because you love that idea of like getting in a little car and that experience of driving. But it's really heavily on tracks, and that really sort of affects the experience. So I was trying to think of ways that you could sort of use the space. Now, what's really great about the Speedway is that, look, it takes up a lot of space. I mean, as far as attractions go, think about everything you fit in that sort of main hallway entering into Tomorrowland and what you could put in this space. You could put a couple of attractions easy. And that is the easy answer, I think, is if you just took this out and flattened it and just expanded Tomorrowland, sort of like the, Fantasyland expansion, and put a bunch of different stuff. But, I mean, that's sort of like the easy answer. I think what would be cool is to keep one attraction in this space that sort of encapsulates the theme and the spirit of the Speedway while giving it new life. So I started thinking about it, like, why is the Speedway in Tomorrowland? This requires a little bit of Disney history, but the idea is Autopia existed because at the time, the ride was sort of there to model the interstate highway system. And back when the ride came out, that was a pretty futuristic thought. That wasn't something that was, all over the country yet or widely used. It was really brand new and in its infancy, and so it was a very futuristic idea. Today, not so much highways, interstates. That's common. It's common, and it's just our everyday. So that sort of needs to change. On top of that, you think about it, Tomorrowland on its own has changed. Let's go fly around a little bit here. Tomorrowland used to be about what the world of tomorrow was going to look like, and it was sort of what World Showcases, what Future World eventually became, which is, celebrating the future and the promise of tomorrow. But that's changed because it took a lot of time to sort of keep up with it and a lot of money to keep up with it. So it sort of instead became a part of the park that was all about our past ideas of what the future would be. It was what we used to think the future was going to be like. And that's why it sort of has this like 1950s Norman Rockwell Jetson style aesthetic, is because it's celebrating, what we thought the future was going to be like in the 50s and 60s. And it's great because then we don't have to update it because of the future changing. So I thought, let's take that concept, let's take that spirit of what we thought the future was going to be like, and let's keep this core concept of, futuristic transportation. And what do you get when you merge the two? You get flying cars. You get the Jetsons. Like, everybody used to think by now we'd be flying around in flying cars. We're not, but, it's what we thought. So why not make this an attraction about flying cars and keep this sort of car theme to it, right? So this is my idea, and it's a little far-fetched, and it might depend on some technology that doesn't exist yet. I don't really know. I would want to keep this attraction open air. I don't want to make this a closed attraction. I think we have a lot of great indoor attractions, but when you want to fly around and feel speed, having that wind against your face is like really crucial to that feeling and that atmosphere. So it'd be an open ride. I think you'd maybe cut it down so it's not as wide, not as many tracks as wide, maybe one or two. And the idea would be, instead of getting in a little gas-powered car, you'd be getting into a flying car. Maybe it's attached by like an elevated rail, or it's, it just appears to be hovering and it's on a rail on the ground, sort of like roller coaster style. And this is sort of the key to the entire attraction. Make a fast ride. Make a fast ride where you're in this Jetson-style flying car and you're just swooping through this like futuristic city. And by maybe having a closed canopy in the Jetson-style car, you don't have to worry about people like stretching out their hands and hitting things. And so you could get that car to get really close, because I think that's what really pulls off the feeling of speed, is when things just sort of swoosh by your head really quickly, right? You look at rides like Test Track, which, you know, brag about, what is it, 55, 60 miles an hour. That's cool and everything, but that's like what you drive on the highway. It's nothing, you know, that special. Imagine if you could get a ride here that went faster than that, and you're in this little Jetsons vehicle. They don't realize I'm about to leave them behind, but just to give you an example, and it just launches off, and it's this speedy chase through this futuristic city where the track is just swooping and going around all these different futuristic, like Googie style 50s sci-fi buildings. It wouldn't really be based on a Disney property or anything, unless I guess you made a Disney property around it, but just this sort of Jetson style city, and it gives it this really exciting feel because it's not going up and down and big drops and upside down. It's not as thrilling or exciting as a roller coaster, but the excitement, it lays within the speed, and instead you're weaving and swooping around different things, and you just have this fun sort of thrill ride. It'll bring another thrill ride to Tomorrowland, right? Which, if you think about it, there are no, like, Space Mountain's the only Tomorrowland thrill ride, so you'd get a second thrill ride there. It sort of keeps within this theme of futuristic transportation, or retro-futuristic transportation, I should say, which sort of matches with the theme of Tomorrowland. And by being transportation focused, it remains true to the spirit of what the Tomorrowland Speedway originally was when it first opened, which was a celebration of the future of transportation. So there you have it. I think it would be fun. I don't know exactly how you would do that rail system. Maybe it'd be sort of like a tubular roller coaster track that just sort of stays really low to the ground and just weaves and bobs a little bit. Or maybe you come up with something really cool and new, and I don't know. I think that'd be a lot of fun. I think it'd be exciting. I think it would fill in a lot of the space rather than having, look at this, like, you know, the 4 tracks wide. Maybe make it just 1 or 2. Maybe if you make it 1 and then you really perfect the ride system, you could have a couple going at the same time, but really, really quickly. That's the big thing. Make it really fast. We don't see a lot of fast rides. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like the idea, let me know in the comments below. If you hated the idea, let me know in the comments below. Maybe you don't want to see it change. Maybe you do. On top of that, if you have an idea for an attraction you want to see me revisit, let me know in the comments below as well. Because that's pretty much how I start picking these for what I'm going to revisit, is by what you guys want me to revisit. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you want to follow me on Twitter and let me know there, I'm at Rob Plays on Twitter. I'm also Rob Plays That Game on Instagram and Facebook. Have a great week. Whatever you're doing, make the most of it. These are the 4 that stuck. I think everybody else is on the ride somewhere. Yeah, they're riding through the ride. Have a great weekend. Whatever you do, make the most of it, because it makes it so much better. And I hope to see you all next time for the next episode of Revisiting Disney. Bye, everybody.